Hey everyone, welcome back to our education channel. Today we're diving into one of the most talked about medications in EMS, Narcan, or Naloxone. Whether you're new to emergency medicine or a seasoned provider, it's critical to understand how and when to use Narcan, especially with the rise of potent synthetic opioids like Carfentanil. But here's the thing, Narcan is not a cure-all, and using it incorrectly can actually cause harm. We're going to break down how it works, when to use it, and when not to, the right dose and route for EMTs, and some real-world lessons, including how this all played a role in the tragic overdose of actor River Phoenix.
So stick around because this is essential EMS knowledge.
Alright, so let's start with the basics. Narcan, naloxone, is classified as an opioid antagonist. That means it binds to opioid receptors in the brain and blocks or reverses the effects of opioids. This is crucial, because opioids like heroin, fentanyl, or prescription painkillers cause respiratory depression, which is what kills people in an overdose.
Narcan kicks those opioids off the receptors, restoring breathing almost immediately.
Mechanism of action. Narcan competes with opioids for receptor sites, displacing them to reverse respiratory depression. But here's where it gets interesting. Narcan only works on opioids. If someone is unconscious from alcohol, benzodiazepines, or another depressant, Narcan won't do a thing. As EMTs, we primarily use intranasal, IN Narcan, since it's fast, effective, and doesn't require IV access. Although AEMTs and paramedics may administer it through the IV access.
The standard dose is 2 to 4 milligrams intranasal, repeated every 2 to 5 minutes as needed, up to 10 milligrams total.
The indications for Narcan is that you have a suspected opioid overdose with respiratory depression.
Big point here. We don't give Narcan just because someone is unconscious. We give it when they have inadequate breathing or aren't breathing at all.
This is because Narcan rapidly reverses opioid effects, and if you wake someone up too quickly, they could become agitated, violent, or even experience withdrawal-induced vomiting, which is a huge aspiration risk. If the patient is still breathing, start with supportive care like a BVM first. If Narcan is needed, go with a low dose first rather than blasting them with 4 milligrams right away.
Now let's talk about why standard Narcan doses don't always cut it anymore.
In the past, heroin overdoses typically responded well to 2 milligrams of Narcan. But now, we're dealing with fentanyl and even stronger analogs like Carfentanil, which is 100 times more potent than fentanyl and 10,000 times stronger than morphine. This means that a single standard dose of Narcan may not be enough. In cases of suspected Carfentanil exposure, multiple doses may be required.
But again, the goal is to restore breathing, not necessarily wake the patient up immediately.
Let's connect this to a real-world case, the tragic death of River Phoenix in 1993. Phoenix, a rising Hollywood star, collapsed outside the Viper Room in Los Angeles after taking a speedball, a mix of heroin and cocaine. Witnesses reported seizures, vomiting, and agonal breathing before he lost consciousness.
When paramedics arrived, he was in full cardiac arrest.
While reports do not confirm whether EMS administered Narcan, let's explore what could have happened if they had. In this hypothetical scenario, if Narcan had been administered, it would have rapidly reversed the heroin's depressant effects, restoring breathing. But this could have had unintended consequences. By blocking the opioid, Narcan would have removed the downer effects, leaving the cocaine's stimulant effects completely unchecked. This could have triggered severe agitation, dangerous tachycardia, or even a fatal cardiac arrhythmia. Why does this matter for EMTs? In polysubstance overdoses, opioids plus stimulants, Narcan should be used with caution. If the opioid is masking the stimulant's effects, reversing it too quickly can be dangerous. Supportive care, oxygen, ventilation, cardiac monitoring is just as important as Narcan. While we don't know for certain whether Narcan was a factor in Phoenix's death, this case reminds us that Narcan is not always a fix-all, and in polysubstance overdoses, it can have unintended consequences. So here's what you need to remember. Narcan reverses opioid overdoses, but only when there's respiratory depression. Start with a low dose if possible. Too much can send the patient into withdrawal and put them at risk. Fentanyl and Carfentanil overdoses may require higher or repeat doses. Polysubstance overdoses, opioids plus stimulants, require extra caution. Narcan can unmask dangerous stimulant effects. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more EMS education.